Here's the truth of the matter. Carson Wentz isn't going to be 100% until next year. I think we all understand that. But the Eagles still have 4 games left in the 2018 NFL season. And they've got some tough defenses coming up. I want to see Carson Wentz play a little bit better. Brendan Albert is here. I am Adrian Fedke. We're going to get into it right now. And I guess the question from the jump, I get that the knee isn't 100%, but some of the things I'm seeing, it's fundamental stuff, like simply setting your feet.
I think Adrian, everything you just said there in our opening is 100% true. Look, I get it. Carson's not 100%. He's still not going to be 100%. Most humans aren't 100% after their knee explodes. You're not going to be 100% in a short month. It takes you a little time. That's fine. But the simple fact of the matter is you're defending Super Bowl champs. You don't get to wait a whole year. You have to keep playing. You have 4 games, and the good news is you can still win the division. You can still be in the playoffs, and you can still be a tough out in the playoffs. That said, yeah, Carson, we're not playing at 100%. I understand he's not healthy 100%. I get all that. But you know what? The rest of the team doesn't give a shit, just to be completely real. So if the team's not going to give a shit, then we can't put them on the cloud and say everything is perfect either.
Yeah. And since the bye, I mean, some of the things that I'm seeing, some of the accuracy issues, it's wavering a little bit, feet not being set, and we're going to get into it in this game. So he threw for 306 yards, 2 touchdowns in this game. The statistics look great. But when I see it, I'm like, all right, well, the offensive line didn't allow a sack. You had 12 incompletions, and some of your incompletions were pretty bad from an accuracy standpoint. So we're going to kind of like look at some of these right now. All right, so accuracy throws, some of the things that I saw in the first half. This throw we're going to look at. Nelson Aguilar had a step down the right sideline. And, these are throws that if you're an NFL quarterback – you got to make, especially this sort of game, Monday Night Football, divisional game, big divisional game, and Wentz missed this one.
And it gets a good defense too. Like, let's give credit when credit is due. This is a good defense. I still think we're going to see better defenses moving forward, but Washington is not a bad defense by any means here. Yeah. So let's kind of take a peek here, guys.
So, here's what we're going to do this week, Brendan. We're going to just let the play go, and then we're going to play it back and
sounds good.
Drive it. So we're going to see here Aguilar. I mean, he's going to be wide open down the right sideline. Beautifully run route. Here we go. And he's got that step. Safety can't get there in time. And there you go. So he missed him. So now you're going to break it down.
All right, so let's take a peek here, guys. First thing I'm going to go back with.
Go ahead.
When quarterbacks are throwing, we always want to we call weight transfer. You might hear that term. Weight transfer means our body momentum is moving towards the target. There are 2 guys in the NFL that arms are so freakishly talented that don't almost ever have their weight transfer moving forward, yet the ball is still pretty accurate. Stafford, Cam Newton. Those are the 2 guys. I don't think there's anyone else. And I'm including –
ridiculous with that.
Yeah, and I'm including like Brady, Manning, Breeze, the best of the best. No one else has that rare of an arm talent. So because of that, you always want your body momentum moving towards the target here. And we're going to take a look at this. Carson's body momentum looks like he's shooting a fadeaway. You're going to see him kind of backpedaling. And it's not because there's pressure in front of him. It's because our body momentum and our weight transfer wasn't good. The body momentum and the weight is going to be back here on the back of our right foot and not on the inside of our right foot. You always want that weight on the inside of the right foot because then it's going to allow good body momentum to be moving towards the target. If your weight momentum is on the back of the foot, what's going to happen? If I put my body momentum on the back of my right foot, my left shoulder pops. My left shoulder pops, what's going to happen? Ball momentum is now going to carry. Ball's going to be long. And that's exactly what we're going to see here. Take a peek at his body weight. You're going to notice it falling on the back. What happens? Left shoulder pops up high. Where's the ball go? It goes long.
And when he's got that accuracy issue right there, I mean, he's always long. And that's what it is right there. So the weight transfer, how much of that is the knee? Because sometimes we're seeing him, he's just flat-footed. He's not really putting any weight on that left.
This is a good question, Adrian. I don't think this is necessarily a weight issue because when we talk about body momentum and weight transfer, it's all actually coming off of your back foot. It's not coming off of your knee. Yeah. Your weight momentum is in your feet, not in your knees. If it was a torque situation, then I would say, okay, maybe it's a knee thing. But because this is a body weight, this is on your feet, and it's in the right side of your foot, not on the left.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. That's the first play from Wentz, and there's a couple others. So what's the next one here? As mine.
9-17 looks like it.
All right. Okay. So here's one where he just doesn't seem to step into the throw, and the left knee, it was the ACL tear, and this is another question where I'm going to ask you, is this a knee question as well? Is this a knee issue?
So let's watch the play, and then I'll come back and I'll give you guys a little feedback on what I'm looking at.
I mean, that throw is woefully inaccurate.
I'll walk it one more time, and then I'm going to come back from the jump. I think we all would agree here, not the cleanest pocket in the world. But you know what? This is big boy football. It's a national football.
That's a clean pocket for him in 2018.
Yeah. I would say this, Adrian. Do I think this is a knee situation here? No. But what I do think it is I think this is a lack of confidence of offensive line in front of us. And I say that because you have to step into this. And because, again, weight transfer, we're not necessarily seeing okay, this is a little bit better.
He's fading away when he's throwing that ball.
It's a little bit better, but again, the body momentum is now moving closer towards the sideline instead of us moving towards the target here. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a completely us moving backwards, but as you'll notice here, he's going to kind of spin around like a little bit of a top. His body momentum is going to move a little more towards the sideline instead of moving down the field, where we want the ball moving down the field. My gut tells me here, Adrian, and the end zone view is going to show a better example of this. He's not confident here on the left side of his offensive line, in this example anyway, of being able to move his whole body momentum forward, and he's afraid of maybe getting some pressure up into the knee. So I don't think it's necessarily a physical thing, a physical issue with the knee. I think it's a mental issue he has with the offensive line that potentially could put his left knee in a dangerous position.
Well, we do have to consider that the offensive line has allowed more quarterback hits than any line in the league.
Yeah.
And there was another situation where we're going to look at later in the show where he had a 3rd and 3 crossing route to Nelson Aguilar and just missed him. So next play we're going to look at, and another feet thing. We're going to look at the feet. So it's an RPO inside the goal line, inside the 5-yard line. They're at the 2, actually. And he throws this off his back foot. And, we were talking pre-show, and obviously the Eagles, they seem to be using the RPO a lot more this year. It worked with Foles during the playoffs. They're using it more with Wentz this year than they did last year with him. Do you think Wentz is a fit for this RPO?
It's a tough question. Adrian, here's the thing. Every quarterback has their good spots and bad spots. I don't think I could put Cam Newton in the Patriots offense and they'd be successful, and I definitely don't think I could put Brady in the Panthers offense and be successful. Everyone has what they really excel at and what they don't excel at. I'm not 100% confident that Carson Wentz is a perfect fit with the RPO. Now, that said, he can still be successful. Can he still be a top 5 quarterback in the league? Yeah, he can. Don't get it twisted. He still can be. But I actually think the RPO is a little bit better of a system fit for Nick Foles. Now, that said, Carson Wentz is the best quarterback on the team by miles, so there's no question about it. I'm not 100% confident, or at least right now, that Carson's a great fit, because if we're having feet problems in the RPO system, that ball's got to get out quick. And if your feet aren't able to get set quick, accuracy is drastically going to be an issue. So I would say, Adrian, right now, his feet are making him not a great fit in the RPO system.
Yeah, and he backfoots this ball. And this is something that I've seen him do in the RPO, whether he's throwing the quick slant, whether he's along the goal line in this situation, he backfoots it. And this is something that needs to change.
Yeah. Again, let's take a peek at this play, guys, and then we'll chat about it here.
Yep. So here we go. We're going to get – Carson Wentz is going to get the snap. And the Redskins with a blitz, and that's just not a good throw.
Nope. Take a peek at it here. Goalpost conveniently splitting Carson in half.
Yeah. Getting him some deep penetration. And it's incomplete.
All right, so let's go back and talk about it, okay? So the RPO, the way you beat the RPOs of pressure is by making sure that the quarterback never gets set and is never able to really be able to get his feet comfortable. Right now, Carson isn't going to be comfortable, period. Oop, I jumped the gun here. Let me go back one. Sorry about this, guys.
Oh, I see what happened.
Yep.
It actually played the next play. Huh?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
There we go. All right. As I was saying here. So what we're going to see here, guys, is we're going to get pressure here off the edge here from DJ Swearinger. And what you're going to see here is Carson's feet. Look at this.
Look, yeah. His left foot is up in the air.
Like, again, do I think Carson's an unbelievable quarterback? I do. Would I draft him on my team? No freaking doubt. I mean, I love Carson. I think he's a great player. But don't get it twisted here. This is not good footwork. This is not good mechanics. If you think about it, basic common sense, where this left foot is pointing is going to be where the ball really should end up. Where's his left foot pointing? Right now, it's nowhere near to where the receiver is going to be. It's not going to be an accurate ball. So what's going to happen? Ball's now going to become sliced, and it's going to be inaccurate here.
And is this back to the offensive line again, him not being confident, or is this one not really an excuse for that?
I don't buy this one in the offensive line. And the reason I say that is because the RPO is designed to get the ball out so freaking quick that in theory, the RPO is really designing for you to not have a superior offensive line because it's about getting the ball out as quick as possible. It's all about footwork then. Like, if you want to get the ball out quick, that's awesome. I love it. It makes total sense here, especially in the red zone. Problem is if your footwork is not in a good spot.
It looks even worse in the end zone angle.
Again, exactly right, Adrian. If our footwork isn't in the right spot here, we're doomed from the jump in the RPO.
Like, is footwork, like, is that something that they can literally work on this week and fix heading into the final month of the season? It is
one of those things. Like, footwork is certainly one of the biggest things that you really drill and you can work on. Yep. Is it something you can fix overnight? I don't personally believe so. And the reason I say that is your footwork is never going to be the exact same in practice in a scenario-based offense versus when the bullets are flying and you're playing for real. I think the other thing, too, especially in the red zone, you get so sped up. You see a guy open, hey, I got to throw it out there. Yeah. I think the biggest reason, and I'm not saying that Foles' feet is a million times better than Carson's. The one thing, if you go back and watch a lot of the RPO stuff with Foles throws a lot of balls side-armed, right? Kind of like Rivers. Rivers has got kind of a funky release a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you are accurate with just your arm alone, then maybe you can get away with it. Foles is pretty accurate with just being side-armed. Carson isn't necessarily, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. Everyone has different skills. That's not Carson's. Carson's skill normally is really good footwork, and right now, footwork isn't great.
Yeah, and that's something that I noticed since the bye. Footwork has been off. It's been a little out of whack. I mean, heading into the bye, he was playing great football. He was one of the lone bright spots on the Eagles' offense. And, offensive line was struggling. They couldn't find a running game. Defense was allowing freaking 24 points every game in the fourth quarter. But you had Carson Wentz. And now the team is turning around. Everything is starting to come together. And Carson Wentz is struggling just a little bit. So, we'll see. But all right, next play we're going to look at. Goal line interception by Josh Norman. Fortunately, it didn't turn into a backbreaker or anything. And Wentz went and actually scored a touchdown right after this drive. But here's another example of that front foot not being pointed to the wide receiver. And this is a play, too, that the ball may have been tipped by the linebacker. If you look at Twitter, there are some people that said that literally paused it and broke it down and slowed it, and it showed that it might have hit the linebacker. But it doesn't matter because this was a fundamental flaw again from Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and here's the thing, tip passes, batted balls, second chance interceptions, those are going to happen. That's dumb luck, and all of that happens. But let's take a peek at the play, and I'm going to explain, guys, why I don't give a shit if it was tipped or it wasn't tipped.
Well, it goes back to the feet. The feet. Feet are going to bring you to the dance.
One thing I will say I like about this, Carson does a nice job of staying as the safety, staying deep, avoiding unnecessary hits here. Just say, look, my job is to make sure that I slow you down enough for the other 10 guys on the offense to make the tackle. I'm not going to get my nose dirty. It's 100% the right play to make.
I love that, man. The way you just broke, man, dude. He's squatted like he's taking a shit.
Especially right here. He's like, yeah, I don't need that problems. Nope, I'm okay, good. Perfect. Done. All right, but let's go back here, guys. Let me kind of hop back to this play.
Yeah. All right. You know what? That's not a good idea. That was a stupid idea of me to play the play first. We're not going to do that again moving forward.
That's okay, buddy. I
tried something new. I thought, like just playing it first for the people and then breaking it down. I thought in my head it worked. But,
All right, well, let's take a peek at this, guys. I'm going to explain to you why, personally, I really don't care if the ball
and you know what I want you to do, too? Slow it down, too, like when you break it down.
Right.
So we can really look at the feet.
All right. So let's look at our feet here. Let's look at that left foot. Let's look where it frames, too, okay? All right. We can see here left foot is pointing pretty much closer to the goalpost than really the hash. That's really where the ball needs to be. Ball needs to be closer to the hash. That left foot is posting more towards the right hash, okay? This is why I don't care if the ball was tipped or not. Because at this point in time, whether the ball's tipped or isn't tipped or hits him in the hands, nothing that happens after this moment in time affects the fact that his left foot is currently not in a good position. So watch what's going to happen here. You see here how Carson's left knee is fully extended. It's fully extended. Now our body momentum is moving back. What's happening here, guys, is your left foot, if it's not framed openly, you can't get your hips through, your shoulder through, your arm through to be finishing towards a target. Weight transfer, as we would call it. Finishing with our body moving down the hallway towards the target. Because the left foot isn't framed appropriately, it causes that left knee to lock up. And then what happens is one of three things. You fade away, like Carson does here. 2, you have to sidearm the football. Or 3, you stand up, and then the ball dives. So Carson here, as we can see, he's fading away. So what happens? It's an inaccurate ball. Because the ball's inaccurate, ultimately turns to an interception. Maybe the play was tipped. Maybe the play wasn't tipped. I don't care. I really don't. Because the issue here comes back to the fact that Carson's left foot is not doing a good job on this clip of framing the receiver.
I'm going to have to look at earlier in the season and how his feet look compared to now. I'm really curious to see that. I wonder this question too. You look at Carson Wentz, he's never really played a full NFL season, and he's coming back from an ACL tear. You don't think this is like sort of fatigue maybe?
No.
I don't know what it is. Since the bye, it's just that things have been a little out of whack.
No, I'm not worried about fatigue. I'm not as much worried about the knee.
I don't know what it is. It's just his feet are just off.
I think it's just a slump. I mean, I don't think it's the end of the world necessarily. I think
it's definitely not the end of the world. Basically, my point is I want to see you play better in your last 4 games because you need to win the NFC East and the competition is stiff. You're not playing the Redskins every week anymore. You get to play them once, but not every week.
No doubt. I agree with you 100%. I don't think it's the end of the world. The problem is it can be the end of your season. That's the unfortunate situation. Yeah. But this end zone view, guys, is really going to give us a good look here at that left knee. Again.
Oh, man.
We can see here. Where's the foot pointing? The foot is pointing pretty much straight ahead, not where actually the shoulders are going. So our body and our torque is in a bad position. Here's the thing that would scare the shit out of me. It puts a lot of torque on that left knee. Puts a lot of friction on the left knee here because the shoulders want to go one place and the lower body, hips and below. That would scare me because this is a good way to aggravate a knee situation.
That didn't look tipped to me, by the way, when we just looked at that.
It's tough. I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But again, I really don't.
I don't know. I don't know if it was or not. So there was somebody on Twitter. His name's Patrick Causey, PMC. I forget what his Twitter handle is, but shout out to him.
Shout out you, Patrick.
He broke it down. He slowed it down really, really slow, and it did look like he tipped it. But when I watched it there, it didn't look tipped. So I don't know. Maybe it was an optical illusion. Anyway, one more play we're going to look at, and it's the Nelson Aguilar crossing route. And we were talking earlier in the show about the offensive line and how it's been struggling all year. And you know what? In this game, they didn't struggle. They didn't allow a sack.
No.
Josh Adams was able to get the ball, and he got it, 20-plus times again. And that balance allowed for, I think, better offensive line play.
Yeah.
And this right here, this is, I think, an example of him just not trusting the offensive line and getting what you like to say sped up. So
yeah, 100%. 100% here. I'll let this one play, and I can kind of run it back real quick then.
Yep.
Hey, and let's
that could have been a touchdown right there.
That could have been a touchdown right there. And let's give credit when credit due. This is a good front seven here in Washington. This is one of the better front sevens in the NFL too. And you know what? The offensive line handled their business. And this great job here by the offensive line on this play as well.
I mean, he's not even trying to set his feet. He's just
I kind of talked about this with, before we were messing around and we were, shooting here, Adrian, but there are two reasons that quarterbacks get sped up. The first reason you get sped up is you don't have confidence in the offensive line. People heard this, call it gun shy, right? Like they get so excited to throw the football. You get a whole bunch of guys in the league who they get hit enough that they're never right again. David Carr is like the ultimate example of what happens of just getting permanently sped up, that he never was right ever since.
Yeah.
But the other reason you get gun shy or you get sped up is you're not confident that your receivers can separate for long enough. And in a play like this, I actually understand it. Because this is really only a one receiver route. We get 3rd and 3 here. It's going to be a max protect. And if you watch our two bottom receivers here, all they're really doing is doing a rub or pick, depending on if you're an offensive or a defensive guy, what adjective you want to use. But all they're doing here is really screening for Nelson. So Carson knows I only got one shot here. I can't reset my feet. I got to get the ball out. But what happens then is that it speeds up your mind that you say, fuck mechanics. I got to get the ball out as fast as possible. And as you watch here, guys, you're going to see really, really, really poor mechanics. Carson's just going to try to gun shy this thing in there. And there's so much time. He had plenty of time to come up, set his feet, and throw it. It's a touchdown play, Adrian. There's no doubt about it in my mind. If he was
that ball on that proper shoulder, allow him to turn the corner, he goes down the right sideline. That's a touchdown. Game over. But they kicked the field goal instead.
No doubt about it. And Adrian, like you talked about before, he statistically looked good here. Got the win. That's what matters. I get all of that. But the competition gets stiffer. There is no room for error here. If you want a postseason with the remaining games in the Philadelphia Eagles schedule, these little things, you do this against the Rams, here's the problem. The Rams are going to score every possession or every other possession. You need to go blow for blow for them. You can't have these small errors because a small error like this turns in from a 14-point spread real quick.
This is what I'm talking about. Yes. You have to go blow for blow with these teams. The margin for error is minimal. You can't make any. You can get away with it against Washington and Mark Sanchez, Marky and the Marky Funky Bunch or whatever, Marky Bark. But like Giants, you can get away with it against the Giants. You fell down 19-3, you're able to come back. But you can't fall down 19-3 to the Rams. They'll just blow you right out of the water. So there you go. This was a really fun show today. Really curious to get your thoughts on where Wentz was, whether or not I was going crazy or not, because I sent out a tweet on Sunday night. Some people just – I guess they just can't handle criticism. I mean, I'm seeing some things I need to see better. It's okay to be critical of Carson.
Yeah. Look, if you want your team to be held accountable, you start with the quarterback. I mean, you saw a perfect example. We saw the Packers have an open assistant coach talk about you need someone to hold 12 accountable. I'm not saying that the Philadelphia Eagles aren't holding Carson Wentz accountable. But I'm simply saying if you want your team to really be held to a higher standard, you start with the quarterback. And if you have to nitpick, then you have to nitpick. It is what it is, guys. If you want to be great, then you have to nitpick. That's what happens.
That's what I mean. Look, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a multiple-time Pro Bowler. He might be an MVP, okay? If we're judging him on the criteria of greatness, I'm going to nitpick. There's no babying anymore. No more babying. I get the knee thing. I get all that. But if I'm seeing these fundamental things that I can see, and I'm no coach, but, I don't know. Am I onto something here?
I think you're spot on, man. I think you're 100% spot on. I think and again, can you get away with this in Washington? Yeah, you probably can get away with it in Dallas. Probably can. But when you get to the playoffs, New Orleans, Los Angeles, it's not going to be able to get away with it.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're talking about here. We're not talking about the Redskins. We're not talking about the Cowboys. We're not talking about the Giants. We're talking about being a team that can beat a Super Bowl contender. And these are the little things that matter now that turns from, oh, we got a field goal, and then the other team goes down and gets a touchdown. Well, that's a 14-point swing right there. The difference could have been easily.
He had 306 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 306 yards because the offensive line played better.
Played great.
That's the way I look at that. Because there was even one play. So the running backs have been really, really struggling in blitz pickup all year, and Wendell Smallwood, we've even done a film on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Wendell's not seeing the field as much now. Josh Adams and Corey Clement are. And Corey Clement did one great job in blitz pickup on one play. That allowed Wentz to scramble to his right and find Nelson Aguilar for 39 yards. 39 yards that would not have been on his total in the past. So that's kind of where I'm getting at. Like with the offensive line playing better, it opens up obviously more opportunities for completions and bigger yardage down the field. So 39 yards, I mean, you take that away, that's 266, basically 267. So, that's kind of where I'm getting at. He could have thrown for 400. That's what he should have thrown for.
Yeah, I don't think you said anything that's wrong there. I'm really excited about this. And I say this because, I love the NFL. I love watching the games, but my favorite thing about the NFL is still the draft. And that's always what I'm thinking about here. I know this is not going to be the popular opinion, but if I'm Philadelphia, I would actually be okay not going to the playoffs this year. Because you go to the playoffs, maybe you lose first round, maybe you lose second round, but I don't think you're a Super Bowl winning team right now. That's just a simple fact of it. So my thought is, does it really matter then if I play one more playoff game? No, to me it doesn't. I'd rather have an earlier draft pick. No, this isn't a great draft year. This year is meh. Next year I'm a little more excited about it. Maybe get a corner this year. But let me ask you this, Adrian, because I was thinking about this when I was waking up this morning. If you had the chance to throw a first-round pick and let's say another mid-round, third, fourth-rounder, would you trade it for Jalen Ramsey?
Woo, I would.
I would too. And honestly, with what's happening in Jacksonville and watching them quit last night, because they didn't lose. They flat out quit against the Titans. I think that they're going to get – I don't think it's unrealistic to say, okay, maybe we sell a couple of parts here. And I think Jalen Ramsey could easily go for a first. And, again, if Philadelphia's first-round pick is somewhere between 18 and 23, I think that's very realistic that could be a piece to move for Jalen Ramsey.
Here's what my rebuttal would be about them making the playoffs. Carson could use a playoff game.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think he could use a playoff game. Like, to just get in that environment, even if they lose a game. I think he could use that.
I get that. I buy that too. I buy that playoff experience is real because he hasn't had that yet, and I think that's fair rebuttal there, Adrian.
Because, I'm with you. They're not getting past the divisional round. Like, you're not beating the Rams. You're not beating the Saints. It's not happening. So, you're limited in how far you can go. But, I'm still hoping that they can win it. Win the East. So we'll see.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, look, it's hard to win a Super Bowl and then essentially accept the fact that, like, okay, we're cool not going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's a hard way to flip, but I get that. But
it is. It is. But if a consolation prize is Jalen Ramsey, that's in my math.
That's the way. See, and that's the way I'm always looking at. I'm always looking at, okay, if it doesn't happen here, what can I do with my assets to get players? And that's what I would look at.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Good conversation. Great show today. Brett and Albert, you got any final thoughts?
That's it, guys. I'll appreciate it.
All right. We're out of here. That's Brett and I'm Adrian. Peace.
Thanks, guys.